And I always ask myself this question: why exactly is it that um, Amazon series don't seem to resonate so much with people, right?
It's
Amazon
true.
has put out some really exciting stuff out there,
That's true.
and in award shows, for instance, they always win some
Hmm.
very
They
prestigious
do.
things. Right? But then, shows like Hannah or Hunters, which was like an absolutely fantastic show. I mean, they
Hmm.
even got Pacino to work
Yeah.
on that,
Right.
right? And yet I don't see a lot of people going crazy goo goo gaga over it. What do
I
you
don't
think is
either.
that phenomenon?
I think it's because Amazon, like, I think they're very careful, and we've talked about this, like, in the Facebook group, how Netflix has kind of just been hit or miss, like, with some things, like, some things are good, some things are not, right? But they churn them out, like, every week. There's, like, a new Netflix show every week. And I
Yeah.
think Amazon is just a little bit more careful with the projects that they choose, and they put more, I think they put more resource behind it, which is how they can get people like Al Pacino, Julia Roberts, who was in
Yes.
the one show. They had Halle Berry in another, right? So I think they put a lot of thought and care into the kinds of projects that they do, but they are a little bit off book. Like they're just a little bit left of, like, you have to really just be into that kind of thing to watch it,
Yes.
right?
Yes. That
um
that is true.
yeah, I don't know. Like, there's not really a lot of feel good things on Amazon. The shows that they come out with, like Hunters,
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
there's not a lot of
Yes.
feel good. Like, it's usually a little more cutthroat, and maybe people just want feel good, which is what
You
Netflix, I think, tries to do.
you're absolutely right because I remember trying to convince a friend of mine to start watching Men in the High Castle, which was one of my favorite
Yeah.
shows by Amazon. And when I tried to explain to her the premise of the show, she's like, I'm just looking for something a bit more mindless to watch.
Yeah, I was actually, because I was telling somebody about Hunters, and I said, Hunters is a good show, and he said, no, I really need something. He was like, that's a little too dark for me right now. I really need and so maybe that's just it, is that it's just a little bit. It's dark, and also I would say, aside from like Mrs. Maisel, a lot of the shows are like, you really have to pay attention, right? Because it's
Yes.
definitely not a background kind of show. Like, you need to watch it, see what's happening. It's so many characters. You have to see the storylines, remember things from previous episodes. So I think that's the reason why people aren't. It's a niche market, I should say.
Yes. But at the same time, it sort of like makes it special in a way because
Hmm.
I feel like I look at Netflix and I see that Netflix is getting insanely mundane,
Hmm.
almost as if like at any point I'm expecting Netflix to start introducing commercials in the middle
Yeah,
of
like
the show.
Hulu. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And in terms of, Netflix can give you a very, very good series to watch. Um, like for instance, about 3 weeks ago, we did an episode about The Woods, you
Mm.
know, uh, which is a fantastic show from Poland. And one of the good things that Netflix is doing is actually introducing us to a lot more international TV than we're
Yes,
accustomed to.
absolutely. Yeah, they are doing
But
that.
at the same time, as we were talking during in the group, it's like, okay, this girl mimics, does some lip syncing of Donald Trump, but now she's getting a Netflix special, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this? Huh? You know. So I think for anybody who's looking for something a bit more substance,
Hmm.
it's a good thing to have Amazon, and it's possible that people forget that it is included with your Amazon Prime membership too.
Yeah, I think that's true, because usually people, when I say, "Oh, go watch this show," people automatically will say, "Oh, Netflix," and I'm like, "No, it's on Prime." Like, and I think that they do forget that there are shows on there, that they can watch, and it's not just Netflix. And to your point about, and they do get a lot of, kind of social media personalities to do some of these Netflix movies, and some of the Netflix movies have been, they've been okay. They've been very, what people want, very mainstream, very, lighthearted, fluffy.
Yeah, yeah, and whenever we talked about a Netflix blockbuster, at the end of the day, there's always like something a little meh about it. Like,
Right.
they can come with all the whistles and bells, and then you say like, yeah, you wouldn't see that in a movie made for theater. Like for instance, Extraction.
Mm.
Um, Extraction was good, but I somehow I was left like, so okay, what was this again?
Yeah, I
Um,
think I agree with you. Well, I think Extraction was like that. That Six Underground was like that. Even Will Smith's Bright, I feel like, was like that. Like
yes,
not
yeah,
shows that you would expect to see, as big hit blockbusters in a theater, but do okay on Netflix, I guess. I guess that's the place
yeah.
for them.